And we'll log in and take a look at some of these things that we've just been talking about here. So this is the login screen here at the ohio.kready.org site. And as I mentioned earlier, there is the download section for the file watcher. So here you can download in Windows PC format and the various Linux formats to load on your server. So next, we'll go ahead and log in. And as I mentioned, once you log in, you are greeted with this welcome screen. Data managers need to click on Administration at the top, and then you're brought to the Data Manager dashboard. These are the various sections that we talked about before: organizations, collections, users, and so on and so forth. So we'll click Bulk Loader. And as I mentioned, once you click on the Bulk Loader link, you're brought to the page. Here you have the Uploads tab, and here you have the Templates tab. The Uploads tab is the first tab that appears, and again, it provides a history of the transactions and what has occurred in the system. Here we have the Templates tab, and you have access to the various templates that we talked about: students, teachers, enrollments, unenrollments, and location administrators. So what we'll do now is we're going to add a couple of teachers to our system. So I'll click on the template for teachers and click Download Teacher Template, and the process starts. So now I can open up this template, and I'll increase the size so that you can view that. And there you are. So now we have our fields: district ID, teacher ID, school ID, the teacher email, teacher first and last name. So let's go ahead and add a teacher to our system so you can see what that process looks like. So now I'll add my district ID here, and I'll click to add my teacher ID. But once I move away from that cell, something happens. My leading zero just disappeared. I need to make sure that zero is there in order for this template to load properly. So I'm going to format my column here. So I select the entire column, then click on Format, and I select Cells. I'm going to click on Custom, and in the area of type, I'm going to enter 6 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once I click OK, my leading zero returns. So that's the proper format for my district ID. Now I'm going to add my teacher ID. And my school ID. In this case, it's going to be the same as my district ID. And when I click away from that, the leading zero disappears, so we'll format this column as well. Select the column, Format and Cells, select Custom, add my 6 zeros, click OK, and now my leading zero returns. I'm going to add my teacher name first. This is Michael Billings. So now I'll add my teacher email. And my first teacher has been added. So now let's add my second teacher. Same district. Different teacher ID, of course. Same school ID, and you'll notice that my leading zeros remain because I've formatted the entire column. We'll add Miss Watkins here. Alright, so now we have all of our fields completed. We have 2 teachers that we're adding, Mike Billings and Sarah Watkins. And as long as we've formatted our columns correctly and these IDs and teachers don't currently exist in the system, we should be able to load this to our K-Ready system without error. So we'll give it a test here. So now we'll go to File, Save As. I'm going to save this to my desktop and save it. So let's go ahead and click Uploads. I need to select the template, which is Teachers. That's my template type. I need to find my file. Since I saved it on my desktop, I know exactly where it is. And now I can click on Upload, and the file is being processed. When I click the Uploads tab, it should show that my file was uploaded successfully. And the file loaded successfully. I can come over here and I can download that file to make sure that it is the same file. And I can check to make sure that my information was successful. If there is an error, again, depending upon how the file is loaded in the system and what I've added, the download validation errors is going to tell me that. So I'm going to download the validations, and let's see what the errors were on the file that I attempted to load. And so here, and I'll increase the size so you can see it. So I've got district IDs, and I've got an error here. When I tried to load Betty Boop, it says invalid district ID. So when I come over here, I see that I made a mistake. I transposed my numbers here. So instead of 765, I have 756, and that district doesn't exist in our system. So I got an error. Okay, so let's take a look at the students template. So I'm going to download student template. And let's open that, and I'll again increase the size. So I want to point out two important things. You'll recall when I went through the formatting piece, I mentioned the date of birth column. If I enter a student, let's say the student was born on February 14th, 2012 or 2013. So let's try February, which is 2/14/2012. And when I click away from that, I notice that my date is not formatted correctly. So in order to format that column correctly, I'll need to select the entire column, click on Format, Cells, select Custom again under the category, and then under Type, I'm going to enter the date format that we talked about, which is MM for month, DD for the day, and YYYY for the year. That's the proper format for date. When I click OK, I see that now the entire date is formatted properly with 2 digits, and then 4 digits. We also talked about the student ID and district ID, the district ID and school ID. Again, you want to make sure that those are formatted. If I were to enter, again, my district ID here, 050765, and click away, that's going to, deleting 0 is going to disappear. I'll need to format that column as well. I also want to show you one thing on the enrollments template. So clicking on enrollments, I'm going to expand and increase the size there so you can view. Column A, again, this is the data collection that we talked about. I want to show you two important pieces with that. If I go back to, I can click on data collections in the menu on the left. When I click on data collections, the data collections that I as a data manager have access to will appear. This is the number that I'm going to use when entering information into the enrollment template. And again, you can find the current collection token by clicking on data collections, and you'll have access to those that are available. Or once you upload using the bulk loader, the students are now in the system, and you can view their information here as well if you want to check. So as I mentioned, we loaded some students today. We loaded Miss Watkins. So if I start typing, I should find Sarah Watkins, and she does appear. So again, just to give you an example, that once you load the students in the system, they will appear here. Okay.